Well, good Saturday morning, friends. Mark Holmes here, of course, with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. So let's get open for business here, and let's wake up those football gods. Wake up there, guys. Wake up. You guys, thank you for blessing this Dallas Cowboy team. Oh, my goodness. You know, it's crazy how the Dallas Cowboys have changed the narrative on everything, from Jerry Jones needing to be replaced and everything else. Worst GM in football. Cowboys can't win close games, you know. That Dak Prescott missed garbage time. So far, so good. And knock on wood, it'll continue. And we get a break this weekend. We get to watch what the competition does, and we'll be live streaming tomorrow. Tune in. We'll have our exclusive meltdown cam. I don't know that Cop Pizzle will actually live stream another Giants game. I think it's just too painful for his ass. That, and he's a welcher. He's a welcher. He's supposed to be wearing this shirt over here. I sent it to him. Daughter even loves it. Daughter thinks it's cute. Hi, baby doll. Baby doll, what's up? Granddad here. But I'm going to leave Pizzle alone. I'm going to leave Pizzle alone this morning because we got other things to deal with. We're off this weekend. So, of course, this is fill-in time while we wait for our team to play the Minnesota Vikings. And the trade deadline is November 2nd. So, of course, you've heard the talking heads out there saying that Michael Gallup would be the most likely one traded, yada, yada, yada. I don't think that the Cowboys do that. I just don't think that they do that. I think the Cowboys look at it and say, we'll deal with the financial situations next year. We want as much depth as possible. But the thing is we have a ticking time bomb for next year. If you look at Over the Cap or Sports Track, the Cowboys right now, as we stand, if the salary cap maxes out at the $208 million that they say, that's the top end. They've already set the ceiling for it. It could be less. We're $14 million over for next year. And this is the problem that we have because we have a lot of guys that are going to be free agents. We have a lot of expiring contracts. In a way, this was good because guys are literally fighting for their futures here in Dallas or elsewhere. And for whatever reason, and I'm not saying that this is intentional, but it seems like players on a expiring contract usually play better than after they've got the big fat one. I'm not saying it's intentional. It just seems to be you see more career years in a contract year. And so you're looking at the Dallas Cowboys that brought in so many free agents and signed them to one-year deals. Some of those guys we're going to need to keep. And when you start thinking about Michael Gallup, Randy Gregory, Connor Williams, you know, the list goes on. Malik Hooker, you know, Montre Kazee, Keanu Neal, and so on, Vander Esch. You have to start figuring out who's going to be a priority. And this is where you start looking at some of the numbers and the contracts of some of the players, and you say, do I pay a boatload of money to this one guy, or do I take the money I pay him and spread it around? One of the guys that you've got to look at and say, maybe we need to start working on a contract now is Randy Gregory. Randy Gregory, some people will say you're crazy that you're talking about a contract extension for a guy that's got 14 and a half sacks in his career. I get that it still sounds kind of crazy, but you look at him, he's got 4 sacks on this season. He has been a one-man wrecking crew. When you get 4 sacks in 5 games, that's pretty good. That's really good, especially when you've lost, of course, the other edge of Demarcus Lawrence. He has got 8 quarterback hits already this season. Now, you compare it to last year where he was a part-time player, he had 3.5 sacks. His best season was 2018 when he had 14 games in there and had 6. But if you go through the rate that he's going right now, he may make 13 sacks this season, in which case he is not exactly young, but his body is young because of all the suspensions. He doesn't have a lot of wear and tear on him. So looking at this, the question you have to say is, what will Randy Gregory cost? Okay. Again, this year right now, he's got 7 combined tackles, 5 of them solo, 3 tackles for loss, 8 quarterback hits, and 4 sacks. And mind you, he missed 1 game because of COVID and may have been a little bit slow coming back from that. Here's the thing. If he's going to get about 13 sacks, let's take a look about where that fits in for last year. Last year, T.J. Watt, of course, 15, Aaron Donald, 13.5, Trey Henderson, 13.5, Reddick, 12.5, DeVore Smith, 12.5, and Myles Garrett at 12. So he is in that pace for Leonard Williams, Myles Garrett, in that range of sack numbers. That, magic plus 10. We'll definitely think that he gets 10 if he's uninjured. So if he gets 10, let's just say hypothetically it's only 10. Last year he would have been the top 10 of sacks leaders in the NFL. So now you look at somebody like JPP, okay, and think about what his contract would be, or DeForest Buckner, or better yet, how about we just look at Robert Quinn? Remember when I was talking about the contract years, how for some reason people seem to play a lot better? His contract year that he played with the Cowboys, I believe he had 11.5 sacks. Don't quote me on it, but it was well over 10. He signed a $70 million 5-year contract with the Bears after that season. So that contract, you can see, his cap number for this year is $11 million. First year was $6 million. 17 next year, I don't think he'll be on the team because his numbers have been terrible. 20, 23, 18. But the guaranteed money on there was $22 million. He'll get that $22 million, and I'm not sure if they'll get much more because he had 1 sack last year. I haven't checked the numbers on this year, but he's not raising any hell. So that gives you kind of an area that you're going to be looking at probably about $12 to $15 million a year for Randy Gregory. Or let's take a look at edge rushers in general, what they're getting paid. Trey Flowers, unbelievably, has got $18 million, but T.J. Watt, 28, Joey Bosa, 27, Myles Garrett, 25, Khalil Mack, 23, Demarcus Lawrence, 21, Frank Clark, 20, Von Miller, 19, Trey Flowers, 18, Cam Jordan, 17.5, Armstead, 17, Shaq Barnett, DeVore Smith, 16, Bud Dupree, Chandler Jones, Leonard Floyd, Carl Larson, Trey Henderson, 15. So, and here you have Robert Quinn at 14. If you can get him for 12 right now, and he may be more apt to go ahead and say, you know what, the Cowboys stuck with me and believed in me, and maybe does. I doubt that they do because that sounds great. You're still talking about $15, $16 million easily. And if he goes out in the free agent market, dude may get $20 million. Finding a guy with that kind of talent, it's not an easy thing to do. It's just not an easy thing to do. So the Cowboys need to start working and getting in touch with his agent and say, hey, let's come work this thing out. We want to make sure that you are a priority for us to get this thing done. And you're going to have to do this contract where you've kind of backload this so you'll get that low cap number to start the season, this season coming up. And then, of course, you can kind of make up for it later on. And this is where you start looking at things like some of the contracts that you have. Demarcus Lawrence for this year is $21 million. I can't change the year on this. But if we were to look at next year's cap number, Demarcus Lawrence is $27 million. Now, there's rumors and rumblings that Demarcus Lawrence may want to leave at the end of this year. And if he does, if you make him a post-June 1st cut, you could save $19 million. So when you think about Robert Quinn's deal, where the first year was only $6 million, you could end up letting Demarcus Lawrence go, possibly sign Randy Gregory to a deal, and still have maybe $13 million of cap money that you can spend on other guys. I'm not suggesting that Demarcus Lawrence go, but unfortunately you can't keep everybody. Which brings me to my next point, where we have Richard Noggin, okay, a.k.a. Kevin Milton, who is the Dak hater of all Dak haters, who I was looking at comments this morning after I got up. Let me see if I can find it. I love it. What do you expect from a 4th-round pick? Hold on, let me see, where was it? Cooper Rush can throw for 400 yards and 4 TDs with that O-line and those receivers. Okay, if you say so. That wasn't actually the comment. I'm a Dak hater and a Dallas fan. Just wait till next year when he loses one of those receivers because of his contract. Well, let me say this. Here's where it's interesting, Kevin. There's 2 types of women in the world. There's the type of women that the clothes makes the woman look really, really good, right? And then there's women that it doesn't matter what they wear, they look good. And that's the same thing with quarterbacks. There's some quarterbacks out there that look great if they have great players around them. Then there's some that elevate the players around them. Excuse me. Excuse me. Because here's an interesting thing. We can actually compare apples to apples, because it's my premise that Dak Prescott makes guys around him better. I think about Randall Cobb. Here's an interesting thing, and we'll go to the numbers here. Randall Cobb, who before he came to Dallas was with Aaron Rodgers, the best quarterback on the planet, a Hall of Fame lock, the bad man. And you looked at his numbers, the best season he had yardage-wise, I don't know why this is going crazy, was his rookie year. He was averaging 15 yards a catch, okay? 15 yards a catch. And, was very good. His last year in Green Bay, which was his biggest season, where he actually was over 1,000 yards, 1,287 yards. See it highlighted there, yellow. He averaged 14.1 yards a catch. But after that season, he literally tailed off. He tailed off, right? 829, he started getting injured. Then the next year, 610, 656, 383, right? And see, Green Bay basically said, you're done. You can't stay healthy, and your numbers have gone downhill, because when he left Green Bay after that 14.1 yards per catch, 10.5, 10.2, 9.9, 10.1. And you look at that and say, yeah, he's done. Amazing thing is, he comes to Dallas with, as you like to say, Dak Prescott is a garbage-ass quarterback. Somehow, he gets the highest per catch in his career, 15.1. He has more yards than he's had since his monster year of 2014. And if it weren't for a couple of callbacks, he would have had 3 more touchdowns that were called back. So then he leaves the Cowboys. He goes to Deshaun Watson, this guy that everybody says that immediately team will be better with Deshaun Watson. Funny thing is, he goes from 15.1 with the Cowboys, he drops to 11.6. I know what you're going to say, but Houston doesn't have all the weapons and everything else that the Cowboys. Okay, I'll give you that. But here's where it gets interesting again. He goes back to Green Bay. Green Bay, who some people say is the top 2 team. Great offense and Aaron Rodgers. 14.3 yards per catch. Less than what he had with Dak. So it's actually conceivable that players playing with the Dallas Cowboys and Dak Prescott actually play better than they would elsewhere. And you can also look at this from the standpoint when you say, when the Cowboys lose a receiver, more than likely that's going to be Michael Gallup, because just like Demarcus Lawrence, just like Randy Gregory is on the end of his contract, you're probably looking at him being $12, $13, $14 million receiver on the open market, in which case the Cowboys don't have the money to pay him. And the problem, of course, is you got Cedric Wilson who stepped in, and the Cowboys didn't skip a beat. They're the number 1 offense in the NFL without that receiver. So your premise of when Dallas loses a receiver next year, we've already lost him. He's played 1 game. So much for that one. And I'm going to try and finish this video off here with this clip. It may end up being that the YouTube police get this, and it may be, if it is, then I got to cut it out. But this is interesting that the quarterback that you say is garbage, that some people
now combat that with so many things that he does as well, if not better than them. That's the conversation.
That's cute and all, but what I would retort to you and retort to Colin
is... that's enough of it. But, it's amazing. The haters going to hate, okay? The haters are going to hate no matter what you do. But regardless of how some of y'all feel, Kevin Milton, the Cowboys are fortunate to have Dak Prescott. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I look around and I see the Eagles that have completely screwed the quarterback situation. Well, hell, you could say Washington has forever as well. The fact that the Cowboys have this quarterback who is playing this well and in this position, you may have to look at it and say it's dumb luck that it ended up being that we didn't end up trading up and getting Paxton Lynch instead, because that's who the Cowboys had their sights on. They came the difference of a 2nd and a 3rd round pick of moving up to get that guy. Can you imagine where the Cowboys would be right now if that had happened? Or had we tanked for Tua? Well, what do I know? I'm a guy with a day job and a voodoo doll, and I got to get to work. I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Mark here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report.
You did one hell of a job, and the only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys?